Hey, it's Robert Weinberg, and on this channel, we empower people to take control of their future through expert mortgage and financial strategies. Are you somebody who's got a mortgage and wondering how can you make that mortgage work for you? Have you heard a bunch of success stories from people refinancing and buying multiple properties and wondering what can I do? How can I get involved with that sort of success and really create wealth using a mortgage? Well, what if there were strategies and tactics that you could implement right away to change your financial and your mortgage circumstance for the better? Well, in this video, I'm going to talk about a couple different ways you can do that. I was actually on a radio show a couple weeks back on the Talk of Connecticut discussing the Mortgage Cornerstone and the concept of using your mortgage as a financial tool. Check it out. Concept that I call the Mortgage Cornerstone, and it's really the idea that the mortgage, if used correctly, can be much more than just a payment that you make every month. It can be literally the cornerstone of your entire financial plan. Your retirement, it can help you during your working years. It can be a huge weapon for you against high interest debt. Obviously, a mortgage can help you obtain properties, as everyone knows. That's a main reason people get them. But I think the main focus here is that people understand that a mortgage and your personal mortgage and the equity in your home, it's the most powerful asset that you've got. The equity in your home is an asset, but it's only an asset when you get access to it. Sure. Most people just leave it in the house untouched until they sell the house, and that's kind of what they're taught. When people are asked, what's your mortgage strategy? If I ask that to anybody, they would say, well, I want to pay my house off. So that's where everyone starts because they were taught by their parents or grandparents, and it was passed down that a mortgage is bad, right? We want to get rid of that thing as quickly as we can. People still have that idea that I got to get rid of the mortgage. So they scrimp and they save every dollar that they've got in order to pay off the mortgage. But the issue is that they do that while sacrificing what they really should be doing with that money, which is paying off other higher interest debt or investing that money in other higher interest investments. So you want to constantly be evaluating your circumstances as a homeowner around the equity in your home or in your multiple homes if you've got a portfolio or multiple properties. And you want to be comparing the equity and the mortgage that you've got to where your personal finances are. Do I have debt that could be paid, et cetera?
But you don't want to pay off your credit card entirely, because I remember in previous shows you said, no, you want to make sure that you're carrying a balance. So
look, if you're trying to squeeze every dime out of your credit score, then yes, you're right. But for the purposes of today and the concept of the Mortgage Cornerstone, you do want to pay off your debt, your high interest debt. I'm not telling you to close your credit cards, but we want to zero them out or get them as close to zero as we can. Discussing what you mentioned on keeping a small balance to improve your credit score, that is specific advice for someone that has low credit or is trying to qualify for a loan. But for the average homeowner or average Joe out there that's just looking to build wealth and create a personal financial success story for themselves, paying off your credit card debt in full is a good idea. Okay.
So what is then the big misconception about the rate of return on a home's equity?
This is a big paradigm shift for everyone. If I were to say to you, how much equity or how much interest do you earn on your equity? Well, people are going to think, okay, well, my home went up 5% last year or 10% or whatever it was. So that was my return on the equity, right? That's absolutely wrong. There is no scenario where equity can return more than 0%. If you think about it for a second, equity in your home, it's not earning you anything. Your home is going to go up or down in value regardless of whether you have a huge mortgage on it or whether you have no mortgage on it, right? So if you have a $200,000 house and that house increases to $250,000, would it still increase to $250,000 if you had a $100,000 mortgage on it? Of course it would. Would it increase any more if you didn't have a mortgage on it? No, it wouldn't. So again, the rate of return on home equity is 0%. So the idea, again, of the Mortgage Cornerstone is, how can we get this equity out of the house and make more than 0%? Literally, if you're making more than 0%, you're doing better for yourself. Now, in the context of a mortgage, there's interest. So if I'm going to borrow that money out while living in the home at 3%, then the idea is, okay, well, now I've taken that 0% and I'm borrowing at 3%. Where can I invest it at more than 3%? And I'm sure you'd agree, and anyone knows that even a mediocre investment in today's economy is going to return higher than 3%, which is the full circle idea of why it makes no sense to pay off a low interest mortgage while carrying other high interest debt or having other opportunities for investment. Because most people do think in their head incorrectly that there is a rate of return on that equity in your home. You have to separate that equity somehow. There's really only two ways to do that, Gary. Number one is take a mortgage or a line of credit or something, a loan against that equity. That's the most common. And number two, everyone knows it's to sell the house. If you sell a house for $200,000 in this example and you owe $100,000, then not factoring in realtor fees and closing costs, you're going to net $100,000, right? So you can take that money and do what you want with it, but you need a place to live. So really where this turns the corner is, I want to stay in my home. I need a place to live, but I also need access to the equity. And that's where this mortgage piece comes in. You need a mortgage to borrow against it. I hope now you're starting to see the value that can come from utilizing the Mortgage Cornerstone in your personal financial plan. If I can be of assistance to you or anyone you know, I do offer a no-cost consultation. You can reach out to my office by phone, text, or private message, and subscribe to my channel. Follow me online for more content just like it. Hope it helps and take care.